Hello friends, welcome back to CLARI Concepts. In this series of Kinematics and Theory of Machines, today we are going to see types of joints and types of constrained motion. Content, types of joints. In that we are going to see binary joint, ternary joint, quaternary joint. Then we'll see types of constrained motion. Completely constrained motion, incompletely constrained motion and successfully constrained motion. Types of joints. Here we are going to take one example of 4-bar chain. Now in this you can see there are 4 links AB, BC, CD and AD. These are the 4 links. Now these are connected at A, B, C and D. Now we have to find out types of joints between the 2 links. Let's say for an example AB and BC. So here that 2 links are connected at B point. So what type of connection, what type of joint it is? Okay, so there are 4 joints at A, B, C, D. What type of joints are they? They are binary joints. Now why I am calling it as binary joints? Because at all these connection, all these joints, there are only 2 links which are connected, right? So if you see A, so at A connection or A joint, there are 2 more links which is AB and AD. Similarly with B, AB and BC. Similarly with C, BC and CD. And finally at D also AD and CD. Right? So therefore all the joints in this 4-bar chain are binary joint. In the same 4-bar chain we are going to add 2 more links, that is BE and CE. Right? So now in this chain we have to find out how many and what are the types of joints. So again we have classified A, D and E. So we will observe where are those A. So at A how many links are connected? 2 links are connected. At D again 2 links are connected. At E again 2 links are connected. So therefore I will call that also as a binary joint, A, D and E. What about remaining 2 joints, that is B and C? So at B and C, if you observe, you can find 3 links which are connected at this junction, that is BE, CB and AB, right? Therefore I will call B and C as ternary joint. Similarly, if you observe at C also there are 3 links which are connected. Now what we are going to do, we are going to add few more links to the same chain. That means I am adding EF, BF and AF, right? So now in this chain we have to find out what are the types of joints are there. So first of all at D we can see it is a binary joint. So we are locating that D is our binary joint. Then A, C, E and F. Observe at A, C, E and F. So we will take it one by one. At A, here you can see AB, AD and AF. 3 links are connected. So this is a ternary joint. At C, CE, CB and CD. Again 3 links. At E, same 3 links. And finally F, again 3 links. So these 4 joints are ternary joints, right? So is there anyone left? Yes, B point is left. So in that B point, on that connection, how many links are connected? You can see 4, BC, BE, BF and AB, right? So 4 links are connected, therefore I will call it as quaternary joint, right? Now to summarize, we will first find out how many binary joints are there on all the 3 chains together. So all the located B's are known as binary joints. This is also a binary joint, this is also a binary joint, this one is, and the final one in the 3rd chain you can see this is a binary joint, right? Then there are 2 ternary joints here on the 2nd chain and 4 ternary joints on the third chain, right? And we have only one quaternary joint altogether in these three examples, right? These are just basic examples to cover all the binary joints, ternary joints and quaternary joints. B indicates what? Binary joint, T indicates ternary joint and Q indicates quaternary joint. Now we will see types of constrained motion. Constrained means you can consider it as restricted motion. Now in that we have completely constrained motion, incompletely constrained motion, and finally successfully constrained motion. Next is types of constrained motion. Here we have assumed one example of square bar sliding inside a square hole. In the types of kinematic pair, we have defined this as sliding pair or prismatic pair. Now the sliding motion, there is only one motion which is possible. We cannot rotate it, or there is no other motion associated with these two links. So even if you try to rotate, will it rotate? No, it's not possible. That means it is independent of direction of external force. Irrespective of the direction of force, it will only slide inside the second link, right? So therefore I will call it as completely constrained motion. Now what do we mean by that? So we'll see the definition. Relative motion between the links is constrained in only one direction. So you can see only sliding motion is possible over here, and it is irrespective or it is independent of direction of externally applied force, right? So even if you try to rotate it, it will not rotate. That means it is independent of the direction of externally applied force. Now we will just modify that example, and I will replace square bar by circular bar and square hole by circular hole. Here you can see the circular bar can rotate inside the circular hole, and if I want to slide it, it will slide also. So here we can see that the circular bar is also sliding inside the circular hole. Now just let me know one thing. Is it possible to rotate and slide at the same time? Yes, it is possible. Is it dependent on each other? No, it's not dependent. That means it's not like nut and bolt, or it's not like screw pair. That means independently you can rotate and independently you can slide. That means there are two different motions associated with red link and green link over here, right? So we are going to define this as incompletely constrained motion. We'll see the definition. Relative motion between the links can have more than one type of motion. So you can see more than one type of motion here. One is rotating, other is sliding. And it is dependent on direction of externally applied force. Dependent means if you try to rotate, it is going to rotate. If you try to slide, it is going to slide. That means it is dependent on the direction. Therefore, we will call it as incompletely constrained motion. Now, we will just modify the previous example again. Here you can see a collar which is attached to the green link, that is extended to the pin of the first link. Now you can see it can only rotate. The red link can only rotate inside the green link. The other motion which was possible in the previous case, that was sliding, now this is not possible here, right? So we are going to define such motion as successfully constrained motion. Now why we are calling this as successfully constrained motion? We'll see here. Motion is not completed by itself, but by some external means it becomes completely constrained, right? That means initially in the previous example it was not completely constrained. Whenever I say completely constrained means only motion possible is in one direction, right? So previous example we have two possible motions, so it was not completed by itself. So what we have done, by some external means. So this external means is the collar here we have attached. Because of that, it is now completely constrained. So we have to make an effort to convert this into the completely constrained motion. So this type of motion is known as successfully constrained motion. Use of some external means. Clear? Now altogether, this was to summarize completely constrained motion. That means only one motion is possible and it is independent of direction of force. In the second example, incompletely constrained motion, that means it is now dependent on the direction of force. Like if you want to rotate it, it will rotate. If you want to slide it, it will slide. If you want to do both, it will do both, right? And finally, successfully constrained motion using some external arrangements. Now we have converted the second example from incompletely constrained motion to completely constrained motion. So we will call it as successfully constrained motion. Now we will see some examples of constrained motion. Now here you can see one link is turning with respect to the other link, right? So we will call it as completely constrained motion. Now why completely constrained? Because there is only one motion which is possible here. Other than that, no motion is possible, and it is independent of direction of external force. If even if you try to slide it, will it possible? No, it is not going to possible, right? Here again the second example we are going to consider. This is a ball and socket joint. Yes, in the previous session we have covered this example in the types of kinematics pair. Now we have to see which type of constrained motion is this. So can you guess? Yes. So this is incompletely constrained motion. Why? Because it is now dependent on direction of external force. If you try to rotate it around x-axis, it will rotate. If you try to rotate it around y-axis, it will rotate. And if you try to rotate it around z-axis, it will rotate. Right? So this is the example of incompletely constrained motion. Finally, we will see a cam follower. In this cam follower, this one is also the example of completely constrained motion. Why completely constrained motion? Because there is only one motion which is possible, and that is irrespective of direction of external force. Even if you try to have any other motion for this follower, will it be possible? No, that is not going to be possible. Another example we are going to see. Here you can see a circular shaft which is rotating inside a circular hole. Here you can see a sliding block which is sliding inside this green link or guides, and here it is a spherical pair. We have already seen this. This is a ball and socket joint. So this is incompletely constrained motion. Why? Because it is dependent on direction of external force. You can rotate as well as slide. This is completely constrained motion because there is only one motion associated with these two links. And last one is, this is also incompletely constrained motion because it is also dependent on external force, direction of external force. Now we have taken the example of IC engine over here. So is piston and cylinder, the motion of piston and cylinder, just look at the piston and cylinder, is it completely constrained motion or incompletely constrained motion, or is it successfully constrained motion? Now piston means what? It has a circular cross section. Cylinder means what? It is also a circular cross section, but it is a hole. You can consider it as a circular shaft and circular hole. So if you take normally circular shaft and circular hole, it can slide as well as rotate, right? But can you see the piston is only reciprocating inside the cylinder. It never rotates inside, isn't it? So Why it is not rotating? Why it is not rotating? Because of the external arrangements. That means we have attached connecting rod to the piston and we are not allowing piston to rotate inside the cylinder. Therefore, we can say that it is successfully constrained motion. Whenever I say successfully constrained motion, at that time the two links are not completed. That means the motion is not completed by itself. We have to make some external arrangements. Then it will be completely constrained motion. Therefore, we have to call it as successfully constrained motion. Right? So thank you for watching this video. If you think this is helpful, then kindly like, comment and share. Thanks again.